British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has arrived in Tokyo with his wife Akshata Murthy en route to Hiroshima for the G7 summit. Sunak is set to sign a historic Hiroshima Accord with Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida ahead of the G7 summit to step up defense cooperation with Japan. As part of the accord, the countries will also announce the launch of a semiconductor partnership to strengthen chip supply chain in an increasingly competitive market. The British Prime Minister is also set to visit a naval base and confirm new UK-Japan defence partnership, which will include doubling UK troop numbers in upcoming joint exercises. The Canadian Prime Minister and the South Korean President held a bilateral summit in Seoul as both countries explore ways to expand security ties, including intelligence sharing. This comes as both countries try to navigate a rivalry between the United States and China. On Wednesday, the Canadian Prime Minister said that Canada is ready to partner with South Korea on critical minerals, clean energy projects, and to fend off North Korea's nuclear threats. This summit comes as both countries mark 60 years of bilateral relations this year. They are expected to issue a joint statement mapping out their partnership for the next 60 years. Montana governor has signed a bill to ban the Chinese-owned TikTok app from operating in the state, making it the first U.S. state to ban the popular short video app. With this new legislation, Montana will make it unlawful for Google and Apple's app stores to offer the TikTok app within its borders. However, the ban will only take effect from the 1st of January next year, that's 2024. TikTok, which has over 150 million American users, is facing growing calls from US lawmakers and state officials to ban the app nationwide over concerns about potential Chinese government influence over the platform. Ecuador's president of the National Council has announced that legislative and presidential elections in Ecuador will be held in 90 days. This comes after Ecuador's President Guillermo Lasso dissolved the National Assembly by decree and called for early elections to avoid impeachment. The opposition wanted to impeach Lasso over accusations that he disregarded warnings of embezzlement, the charges that the president denies. Police and military decked in riot gear were also seen guarding the National Assembly building in capital Quito, allowing no one inside. Ukraine's foreign minister told a top Chinese envoy during talks in Kyiv that Ukraine would not accept any proposals to end the war with Russia that involved it losing territory or freezing the conflict. Li Hui, China's special representative for Eurasian affairs and former ambassador to Russia, visited Ukraine on Tuesday and Wednesday, where he met Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba. The visit is the first to Kyiv by a senior envoy from China since the Russia-Ukraine conflict began. The senior Chinese official's trip to Europe is expected to also include talks in Russia, Poland, France and Germany. Turkish President Erdogan has announced a 2-month extension of a UN-backed deal under which Ukraine ships grain across the Black Sea. Ukraine ships of food grain across the Black Sea to the global markets. Erdogan also mentioned that with the efforts of Russians and Ukrainian friends, it was decided to prolong the Black Sea grain deal. Japanese lawmakers rallied outside the House of Representatives to condemn the government's plan to discharge contaminated wastewater from the Fukushima nuclear power plant into the sea. Calling it a serious breach of contract, the lawmakers argued that the government had previously stated that the discharge plan will be based on the consent of local people. Protesters say that the discharge of nuclear contaminated water containing a lot of radiation into the sea will become a very serious problem. Thousands of Argentinians flooded Buenos Aires' main avenues to protest against hunger and the measures adopted by the government to comply with the IMF's $44 billion loan deal. People from all over the country came to the capital to set up an encampment in the Plaza de Mayo to put pressure on Ministry of Social Development. This comes after Argentina's economy ministry announced a package of measures including new interest rate hikes, more central bank intervention in currency markets, and fast-tracked deals with creditors after inflation overshot all forecasts last week. Thousands of Israelis protested against the government's 2023-24 budget, which will give hundreds of millions of shekels to the Jewish ultra-Orthodox community. Strained by months of unprecedented protests, the government has set $3.8 billion for coalition funds, money to finance political deals with the ultra-Orthodox Jewish and pro-settler parties on which Netanyahu's coalition depends. This comes as state support for ultra-Orthodox institutions and community, as well as exemptions from a military service, have long been an irritant to many Israelis. El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele has announced that the armed forces had imposed a security cordon around a town where suspected gangsters killed a police officer. The El Salvadorian also tweeted that a security cordon around the municipality of Nueva Concepcion has been established. This cordon will have more than 5,000 members of the armed forces and 500 police officers in a bid to catch those responsible for the killing of the officer. Just over a year ago, Bukele launched a controversial war on gangs in which more than 68,000 suspected gang members have been arrested without a warrant under a state of emergency. Four children from an indigenous community in Colombia were found alive more than 2 weeks after their plane crashed in the thick jungle. The plane was en route to San Jose del Guaviare when it crashed due to engine failure on the 1st of May. 3 adults, including the pilot, died as a result of that crash, and their bodies were found inside the plane. The 4 children, aged 13, 9, and 4, as well as an 11-month-old baby, survived the impact. The preliminary information from the Civil Aviation Authority suggested the children escaped the plane and set off into the rainforest to find help. A train got derailed in Medina County in Ohio, causing havoc as busy roadway was shut down due to the debris. The derailment happened in Spencer Township, which is about 40 miles southwest of Cleveland. The train company said that no hazardous material was present on board and no injuries were reported. Two trucks and a loader were set on fire by masked and armed people in Chile's Araucanía region. No injuries were reported, but according to local media, the masked attackers left a message demanding the release of Mapuche political prisoners. There was another attack just a day earlier when a farmer was treated for gunshot wounds after he was attacked in his vehicle. These incidents are stemming out of a long conflict between indigenous Mapuche people and the Chilean government. Indigenous activists say that their lands are increasingly threatened and blame the state for failing to uphold their historical rights. A US judge is set to formally mete out a life sentence to a Uzbek man convicted of killing 8 people and injuring dozens more. The incident happened in 2017, in which he drove a rented truck on the bike path crowded with cyclists and pedestrians in New York. 25 people who survived the attack and family members of people who died are scheduled to speak during the hearing. Many of the people killed or injured were foreign nationals visiting the most populous US city. A US district judge has set the date, and Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes will begin serving her prison sentence on the 30th of May for defrauding investors in the failed blood testing startup once valued at $9 billion. Elizabeth Holmes will begin serving 11 years and 3 months in prison. Earlier, Holmes had appealed to pause her sentence on the 25th of April, 2 days before she was originally supposed to report to prison, but was denied. Crowds of LGBTQA+ rights supporters celebrated in front of the Paris City Hall, adorned with rainbow flags, to mark the 10th anniversary of legalization of gay marriage in the country. Hundreds, including several same-sex couples, cheered to mark a day that many said was a milestone for the LGBTQA+ community. France enacted a law that granted same-sex couples the right to get married and jointly adopt children on the 17th of May 2013, becoming the 13th nation worldwide to legalize gay marriage. So far, 34 countries around the world have legalized same-sex marriage. Helicopter teams rescued 9 people from their flooded homes in the Italian region of Emilia-Romagna after torrential rains battered the region. At least 8 people were killed and thousands were evacuated from their homes as torrential rain triggered floods and landslides. One of those rescued by the helicopter was a pregnant woman, winched up into a helicopter and transported to an area where she could receive medical attention. Hundreds of emergency personnel, from the police to the fire brigade to the Coast Guard, have been involved in rescue operations for over the last 24 hours. A land subsidence in the northern Peruvian district of Chancay destroyed at least 4 homes. China's COSCO shipping company suspended construction on a tunnel for a major port project in northern Peru after the partial landslide struck, and is working to find the causes behind it. The local criminal prosecutor's office has opened an investigation into COSCO's shipping ports in Chancay for its alleged responsibility in the damages endured by the locals affected by this sinking. The Chinese company is building a 1.8-kilometer tunnel designed to cross under a residential neighborhood to connect a highway with the port. A British adventurer has set a new Guinness World Record by reaching all 7 wonders of the world in less than 7 days, traveling a total of 36,783 kilometers. Jamie McDonald, also known as Adventure Man, made the record-breaking journey in March, kicking off at the Great Wall of China, hopping across Asia via the Taj Mahal to Petra in Jordan, before heading to Rome to tick off the Colosseum. McDonald then crossed the Atlantic for the second half of the trip, visiting Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro and Machu Picchu in Peru, before completing his mission at Chichen Itza in Mexico in 6 days, 16 hours and 14 minutes. The world's oldest and most complete Hebrew Bible was sold at an auction for $38.1 million, making it the most valuable manuscript ever sold at auction. The Codex Sassoon was acquired by Ambassador Alfred H. Moses of Washington, D.C. and the Moses family. It will be gifted to the ANU Museum of Jewish People in Tel Aviv in Israel. This sale surpasses the 1994 sale of Leonardo da Vinci's Codex Leicester manuscript, which achieved $30.8 million. That's what the auction house said. A new 70s-inspired Malibu Barbie cafe in New York City has opened its doors to the multitude of Barbie fans who grew up playing with Barbies and watching movies like Barbie of the Swan Lake. It is an immersive Barbie-themed pop-up cafe, which will have hot pink interiors in the signature Barbie colors and feature Master Chef semi-finalist Becky Brown's all-day brunch menu. The cafe hopes to attract customers with a life-size Barbie box and playground with actual sand pits to make sand castles in the beach-inspired cafe. The U.S. Naval Academy's freshman class successfully climbed the greased 21-foot Herndon Monument on to replace the freshman plebe, a Dixie Cup hat, with an upperclassman hat, marking their official passage from first-year plebes to fourth-class midshipmen. The traditional Herndon climb dates back to the 1950s. The monument is greased with a heavy coat of vegetable shortening, and the plebes must exercise perseverance, teamwork and ingenuity to replace the hat. This year's class, which graduates in 2026, worked for 2 hours, 31 minutes and 51 seconds to replace the cap. In the largest underwater scanning project in history, the iconic but ill-fated Titanic's wreckage has been visualized in full using 3D scans. The full-size 3D model was created with data gathered by 2 submersibles named Romeo and Juliet during a 6-week expedition to the North Atlantic wreck site in summer 2022. In all, the mission gathered 16 terabytes of data from the wreck 12,500 feet below the surface. Scientists involved in the project described it as a game changer which offers to completely rewrite our understanding of the 1912 disaster.